Hey everybody, Cajun Chef here. Hopefully you're watching this video because you watched my last video on how to make a roux and you want to know how to use it. If you didn't and you're new to my channel, I have a link to the video in the description. So first thing we're going to do when the water gets hot is take the roux that you made, put it in the pot, and stir it up until there's no more clumps. Once all the clumps are gone, then it's time to add some water. Here I am adding the water. I always like to go for a consistency that's not really thick, but not really watered down, kind of in the middle. And just know that you're going to have to add water throughout the cooking process because you're going to lose water as it cooks. Now once the water gets to the right consistency for me, now it's time to add the seasoning. I like to use cayenne pepper, black pepper, salt, Old Bay. Everything I'm going to use is in the description. Remember, this is just a starter. I don't want to over season. I can always add seasoning later. Now today I use chicken bouillon, or bouillon, however you pronounce it, instead of chicken stock. My preferred is chicken stock, so I put a little description up at the top. Alright, once you have your seasoning added and it's stirred, now it's time to add the sausage. I like to cut mine about 1/4 of an inch thick pieces, so everybody gets some, because they're usually the first thing that goes. Because for some reason that's what people pick out. And they float, so they end up in the spoon whenever you serve. But here I am adding. Once it's done, I'm going to stir it and then cover it back up. And now I'm going to add the garlic. Not sure why I chose to add the garlic here. It doesn't really matter. The gumbo is going to cook for like 4 more hours after this, so the garlic's going to be cooked. You just don't want to add the garlic to the roux because the garlic's going to burn. Garlic burns very easy. Alright, here is the andouille sausage. We're going to add the andouille sausage now. What andouille sausage is it's a more heavily smoked sausage than regular smoked sausage. So it does help give the gumbo a much stronger smoky flavor, which I really enjoy, and I think you will too. So all we're going to do now is stir it, get it all good and mixed in, cover it, and let it cook some more. Alright, this is now sausage type number 3. We already had the smoked sausage and the andouille sausage. Now it's time to add the fresh sausage. This sausage is called chicken and jalapeno sausage. I got it from 2 different places, which is why they look different. But it doesn't really matter. Chicken and jalapeno tastes like chicken and jalapeno, so we're good. Alright, we're going to fast forward about 30 minutes and check on this. Let's see. Yeah, it's definitely boiling. Oh, that looks good. Oh, the smoke's going right on the camera. Sorry about that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to stir it. We're going to check. Once the sausage gets firm, that's when we want to cut it. We don't want to cut it before that because then the meat's just going to pour out of the casing. So we don't want to do that. So now the sausage is ready to be cut. So I just use scissors. I pick up the sausage pieces at a time and cut them into about, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inch pieces of meat. And then I let them keep cooking. The next thing I want to add more toward the end of the gumbo is the green onions or scallions. I like to cut those with scissors because it's just easier than getting a plate. You can just cut them straight out of your hands. Once they're all added, stir it and let it cook some more. One thing you're going to do a lot when you cook a gumbo is stir. I always check it every once in a while. Open the pot, make sure it's not boiling over. Scrape the sides, get the stuff that kind of rises up on the sides down. Once we get all that done, toward the end, I would say about 45 minutes to an hour before you're ready to eat, that's when I put the chicken in. Because the gumbo is just going to continue to cook. And it's going to cook the chicken, and it'll overcook the chicken easily if you add it too early. Because it takes a long time for a pot this size to cool down. The chicken's just going to keep cooking whenever it's done, so just keep that in mind. Guys, I can tell you that gumbo was delicious. Now, if that video helped you out and you want to see more videos, please subscribe. I really appreciate it.